Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we're going to talk about The Walking Dead Season 6 Cliffhanger. Now, this is going to focus specifically on the cliffhanger, some pros and cons, and if you want to check out the first impression review, that's coming up right behind this, so stay tuned for that. But before we get started, did anyone else get the feeling that AMC was subtly trying to tell us that if we want to see who dies in Season 7, we're going to have to get down on our knees? There's going to be some pros, but it's going to be heavy in the negative department. Before we get started, a huge thank you to the cast and crew, because even though, again, there is problems and issues, especially with the cliffhanger, I think they did a tremendous job. And I know a lot of people right now, because they're mad with the cliffhanger, they're throwing out things like Scott Gimple needs to be fired, this is lazy writing, you know? I don't agree with that. I put a post up on social media saying 95% of the time I am loving what they do with The Walking Dead. So just because there's 5% that I just don't agree with or don't like, I don't want anyone to get fired for that, because I still love the 95%. You're always going to come up with things that you love and hate with a show. It doesn't matter how great it is. There's always going to be things you like and things you don't like. Again, with that being said, I'm still happy with Scott Gimple, and I do not want him fired. As well as the cast and crew, I think they did a tremendous job, especially with the acting and the storytelling and the directing and the camera angles. Even in the season finale, I didn't talk about that a lot at all in my previous videos, but it was filmed very well, even though I disagree with the cliffhanger. We're going to get into that right now. First thing I want to talk about, now that the thank yous are out of the way, and that is sincere, a huge thank you to the cast and crew. I think Season 6 is probably one of the best seasons. I'm not even going to lie, though, the cliffhanger portion, it hurt it. Other than that, though, it's up there for me. I really enjoy Season 6. First thing I want to talk about are the commercials. Listen, that's just the way it is. The commercials is something we just can't bitch about anymore, because without the commercials, we don't have a show. The good thing is they release it on Blu-ray and DVD, so we can pop that sucker in and watch it commercial free. And I'm good with that, because I rewatched the show anyway, so I can watch it without commercials, and I'm loving it. Speaking about the Blu-ray release, the official Walking Dead website and social media did say word for word, Negan might say F. They might even said fuck and bleeped it out, but their official thing on social media said Negan might say fuck on da-da-da. Now, when I read the article, two of the articles, it sounded like it was just going to be on Blu-ray, and that's why the video I did with them saying fuck was kind of like, okay, if they decide to do this, that, and the third, but I was overly excited about it. To my disappointment, that's not how it was. It was just the word shit they used a couple times, but most likely without them announcing it, I'm almost positive, since they already confirmed they filmed it two different ways, one with cursing and one without. You know, we know that for a fact, because there's no blood or gore factor, nothing happened. But so we can look forward to the uncensored version on Blu-ray, and I know that's something small, but I am very excited for that uncensored version. So, alright, let's go right into how it was filmed and lazy writing real quick. That I disagree with. Again, I think their storytelling is incredible. I love the storytelling on the show. And especially how it was filmed, like they genuinely care about it. Yes, take the cliffhanger portion out of it. You can say all the bad shit you want about that, but they genuinely care. You know what I mean? When I watch this show, I see people who are passionate about making this entertainment for us. And I know we're passionate about watching it, and when we really don't like something, we're really outspoken. But there's people saying that it ruined the whole episode, and I disagree with that. It didn't ruin the whole episode for me. I watched it again this morning, and I enjoyed every second of it up until that one point. And the season, it did hurt it, in my opinion. It felt like this was, man, one of the greatest seasons of The Walking Dead, and up until the cliffhanger happened, I was on top of the world, like, this is gonna go down in TV history as one of the greatest seasons of a show ever. And immediately when the screen went black, that left. That's done. It's not. It's impossible. I mean, it shot itself right on the spot. It committed suicide, you know? And I know that's a shitty thing to say, and I know there's probably a lot of people out there like, oh, that's not true. There's many. No, you know why? Because the backlash and the angry fans, they're going to overshadow this, you know? When we think about Season 6 and how it ended, the first thought how pissed off the fans are and how much they don't agree. Why am I saying that? Because every single link you click on, whether it's an article online, whether it's, Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, fans are bitching. They are pissed because they've been waiting for this moment, and the moment was just chopped in half and blacked out on them. You know what I'm saying? So it will, from this point on, be remembered as one of the cliffhangers that pissed fans off. Now, here's the thing. That could eventually blur into, fans are talking about it pissed them off, but it's a cliffhanger. That's what they're supposed to do. But there's good and bad cliffhangers, in my opinion. And this, I still, after rewatching it and sleeping on it, I'm still putting this in bad. If it's just break it in good or bad, it's just a bad cliffhanger. Anyway, let's see what else. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is I don't care who's going to die. And it is frustrating not seeing that death, but I don't care. That's not the point where I was like, oh my god, I hate this. That doesn't matter to me. Seeing who dies is not that big of a deal, in my opinion. Now, it kind of is because it's connected to it. It's frustrating not seeing who dies. And at this moment, I'm kind of like burnt out. Like, oh, we're going to make prediction videos on who dies. We've been doing this since the beginning of Season 6. This has been the moment Season 6 has been building up to. Now we're starting over, or no, we're not even. We're just adding on to the pile of predictions on who's going to die. And that's another problem. Even fans that aren't on the internet doing predictions all this season, hearing the articles and news and everything like that, you're like, man, someone's going to pay the price. And then it builds up to you don't get it, And we're going to get it. I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying it has that build up and it's frustrating. But in my opinion, why I don't like the cliffhanger has nothing to do with not seeing the person who dies. Another problem I want to talk about is the spoilers. Yes, the spoiling community will spoil the shit out of this. And that sucks. Unfortunately, on the internet, we are most likely going to see it thrown out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube comments especially. In like 2 or 3 months from now, we're going to be making YouTube videos predicting Season 7, and we're going to be all excited and happy and talking to friends and our online friends and our fan family, and then bang, some asshole in the thing is going to be like, so-and-so dies, spoiling fans said so. And it's like, fuck, So yeah, that's a problem. And let's not let AMC off the hook on here. And this is one thing I am super pissed about. They leaked the ending. I don't know if you guys remember, and I avoided this, so I didn't talk about it, but you guys know when Negan hits the guy in the head and it goes black, that ending was leaked months ago. Fans watched that, came to me back in December, and were like, oh, cliffhanger. I did a video on it, and I said there's no way because it kills the momentum of that scene. They're going to have to set the scene up again just the way it was and reshoot it, and it looks like they're going to have to do that now. But my whole thing was when they leaked that damn cliffhanger ending, I'm like, that just can't be it. It's out in the open. Fans watched that. So since, late November, early December, fans saw the ending of Season 6. It was when they were filming it. I think it was in November because there were articles about Jeffrey Dean Morgan just filmed his scene, da-da-da-da. Days later, there's this frickin' clip that comes out of someone recording the monitors of them filming. So it's not even like it was released somewhere and they're doing something with it, or maybe packaging it for DVD. You know how spoilers get taken like that? Or clips. This is someone who works on the fucking set, recorded the monitor that they're recording the scene from. How the fuck does that leak get out? That's one thing I think that pisses me off the most, is this heated cliffhanger was already seen by a shitload of fans online back in December 2015. And it's AMC's fault somehow because whoever the hell was in that area filmed it on their fucking cell phone. That shit aggravates me. I want to move on. Here's another thing that's problematic. Will it be Aaron? Will it be Eugene? Rosita, Sasha. I love Sasha. I think the actress is absolutely gorgeous. Plus, she kicks ass on the show. She's a badass. I mean, she shot all these walkers, like 3 of them, But here's the thing. Them cliffhangering this death makes me afraid that it's not going to be somebody that's impactful. It's not going to be Daryl. It's not going to be Glenn. It's not going to be somebody who's with us for a while. Somebody that we are deeply invested in. And I'm saying that because if it is in the beginning of season 7 and it's someone small or someone that doesn't really hit us like a gut punch like Eugene or Aaron, and I like Aaron, I really do, it wouldn't crush me if he dies. If they pulled out Glenn and beat him to death, I'd be like, holy fuck, I need a break. I need a breather. This show's too much right now. I need to go outside, have a cigarette. They beat Aaron to death, I'm going to be like, oh, that was bloody and brutal. On with it, onwards. Let's move forward. It doesn't have that impact, so that's why I'm afraid that if they do beat Aaron to death, they can now utilize the full season to do damage control and be like, but hold on, we got all this awesomeness, look at this and this and this and the kingdom and everything's so awesome, to try to again lighten the blow of not having a death that's just like, whoa. That is something I'm really worried about as far as a fan of the show, that they're going to pick somebody who is a weak death. And that's my two biggest worries, is that they decided to do it for ratings, which is just a shitty thing to do. Why? Because the show isn't struggling. This show is not one that we're worried about getting canceled. This show is probably one of the most popular shows, ever. And they don't need to do dirty tricks like that. So if it is for ratings, that was shitty. If it was because there's a weak death and they want to soften the blow, like I just said, and they want to use season 7 to have the death in the first episode and then do something really awesome after that, because they have a whole episode now. If they do the death in the beginning, they have a whole episode to really get us excited about what's coming, so that can be damage control. So that's something else I'm worried about. My biggest problem with the scene being Cliffhanger is the momentum. It's just like slamming the brakes on that momentum. And what I was talking about before, there's good and bad cliffhangers. Now, I know on Talking Dead they brought up Lost with the hatch. Now, it's been a long time since I've seen Lost, but I love the cliffhangers in Lost. Like, I am a cliffhanger nut. I think they are, when they're well crafted, they are some of the most memorable moments on a TV show. Still, to this day, I talk about Lost's cliffhanger where they're off the island, like that cliffhanger, and it has stuck with me all these years as one of the things that literally not literally, but that blew my mind as a fan. I was like, whoa, that was just wow. And then they brought up the hatch, and I just disagree with it, because the hatch on Lost, it was like giving us a little taste of a new story coming. Negan's death doesn't do that. I don't care how you try to spin it or say it does, it doesn't. And, if they want to take Negan's death and say, okay, this death is going to mean this happens afterwards, all right, I'll wait until I, watch the episode and maybe I come back and I agree with you. But for right now, I don't agree. I think Negan, the cliffhanger with Negan in the season 6 finale is like, imagine the Terminus cliffhanger. Remember where they got locked in the train car? And that cliffhanger was awesome. I think that was well crafted. Other fans might disagree and they might, oh my god, that's a cliff. That is a damn good cliffhanger. It sets up the potential for this new story. They're in danger, and there's hints, about cannibals, about this group being cannibals. Such an awesome cliffhanger. Now imagine if that wasn't the cliffhanger. Imagine if they're in the train car and then they're making weapons and then they get gassed and they get brought out of the train car. Imagine all that buildup. Imagine they get put out in front of the trough. Then Rick sees his reflection and they're sharpening knives and they walk up and they go dunk on the first guy. They knock him out and the screen goes black. Imagine that cliffhanger. That is a vicious cliffhanger, isn't it? I mean, just wow, that's scary, that's whatever. But now look at the momentum. What happens with the momentum? You literally brought the fans, body to, they got the chills, they're in it, they're running, their heart's probably pounding out of their chest. You built up that momentum, you built that up right now, and when you go back and start the new season now, what you're going to have to do is either replay shit they've already seen, and they'll just be waiting for that moment to pick up where they left off. And it's just like if they paused it, walked away for a few months, and came back. And that's how I feel Negan's cliffhanger is. It's as if we paused it, left and came back. That's the only way. And here's the thing: they did chop it up. They chop it up so much where this will definitely be. I'm saying that right now. I risk sounding like an idiot every time I push record, so I'm gonna do it now. It's going to be chopped up like No Way Out. Remember, episode 8 ended with Sammy going, "Mom, Mom," and then episode 9 starts, and it's as if that never happened, which, in my opinion, is still such a huge issue with that scene, especially just because I don't understand why the hell they did that. It feels like they have Sammy just saying "Mom, Mom" to get the cliffhanger. Once they got the cliffhanger, obviously they need to rebuild that momentum. They need more in the story. So what do? Let's forget that fucking happened and let's just have them walking fine and they're okay. And Sammy's like, "I got it, Mom." See what I mean? They need a way to rebuild that momentum. Now, Negan's scene was chopped up when he's Inny, Mini, Money, Mo. And here's a couple things we noticed, that they have them lined up where if you're looking at them, if you're standing behind them, Negan's here, you have Eugene, Carl, Aaron, Sasha, Rick, Maggie, Abe, Michonne, Daryl, Glenn, Rosita. Now here's the thing they do is they chop it up when he's doing Inny, Mini, Money, Mo, so that way when they start season 7, they're most likely going to film that entire scene again and show us all of it and build up that momentum again. And that's just something that I don't think they should have done. The momentum was built up. It was damn near a perfect episode. So now it's chopped up, and they're most likely going to refilm it unless they just don't show us the death. That was the worst idea I've ever seen, where someone said, what if they just start out where they skip the death and they're burying the person, and I'm just like, holy crap. That is bad. But okay, so then Negan is standing in front. Negan does the Inny, Mini, Money, Mo, and then he just stops in front of someone. And that's because it's chopped up, because most likely when they refilm it, he'll drag the person out and they'll be in front, and then here's the line. Now Negan points to Carl, and that's clear. I watched it like 10 times just to make sure. When Negan goes, and this is another thing, I don't know why, but a ton of people are picking Carl is getting beat. Carl is safe, Rick is safe. And there's just no way without ruining it, the continuity. Because Negan says, if anyone moves, rip out the kid's other eye and feed it to the father. Now that tells us two things. One, Carl is to the right, because he points at Carl. No one can say he doesn't. He does. He definitely does. But he says, rip out his eye and feed it to his father. How stupid would Negan look if he says rip out his eye if Carl is the one getting beat to death? That makes no sense. How stupid would he look if Rick was the one getting beat to death? The scene makes absolutely no sense if Carl or Rick are the ones getting killed. So they're off the chopping block unless they screw with the continuity. Again, he definitely points at Carl to the right. He does one of these, But it's a point. So Carl is here, which means Carl's here, the father's here. If Negan is here, that means it can only be Aaron or Sasha. Unless, like I said, they take the person out of line and bring them forward, which is most likely what they're going to do. However, we don't see that at all because it's chopped up. The way it's filmed, for us, it looks like Negan goes Inny, Mini, Money, Mo, stops on someone who's it, and beats him right there. That's the way it's filmed. And that's why I said it's all chopped up. Now, here's the thing. If you want to play with momentum, one option they can do, if they don't want to go through all the trouble of making a whole new build-up, or maybe if the build-up will just seem artificial and they still want it to be a shock who gets picked, they don't have to show who he picks. He can go Inny, Mini, Money, Mo. They can reshoot the whole scene. He could do Inny, Mini, Money, Mo. We can see it from Negan's, just a view of Negan. They grab who's ready, they bring him up, and it's all angles where we don't see who it is, and then he gets beat. They can do that, definitely. Or it can just be a black screen, and we can hear it. The Inny, Mini, Money, Mo. We can hear him talking like the end of season 6, and then we can hear him go, Inny, Mini, Money, Mo, you're it, and then they bring him up, and Negan does his whole, if anyone moves, cut out the boy's eye, and whatever. And then Negan says, you're all going to be crying in a minute, and it fades up to Negan as he's saying that, or getting done saying that. He raises his bat, and then they pull away. Bong, we see who it is. He comes crashing down, and then it's shocking. It's right there, and it jumps right into it. So there's definitely ways they can play with the scene. Again, in my opinion, since they didn't film it and the actors don't even know who's dead yet, they have to reshoot that. They can't skip this death. They're gonna have to reshoot it. Anyway, I think I've been rambling on, and we're gonna be doing a lot more discussion videos for The Walking Dead Season 7, so this is your one big cliffhanger discussion video. Enjoy it, and let me know what you think about the cliffhanger now that you've had time to process it, now that we've had this discussion. Give me your thoughts and opinions, because if this is something that is still a hot topic, I will do a follow-up video and will include some fan feedback. So everything I left out of this, also your thoughts and opinions, ideas, theories, suggestions, put those all down in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.